Hi everybody. In this video we're going to go ahead and implement pointer lock controls so that we can use our mouse pretty readily to at least rotate the view of the camera and see what we're looking at. Pointer lock controls, if we look them up here and find them in our examples, right? So here they are. This is in docs, and they show up in the examples section under the controls area, right there, right? So what they do is they lock the mouse, they make it invisible, and then they make it so that when you move the mouse around, the camera follows it. So what you can do is go to the source down at the bottom of that, and it's going to show you the code. So if you right click where it says raw and say save link as, you'll get to download it. You'll see that I already have, so instead of saving, I'm going to cancel. I've got it there in downloads already. So then in my replit, I'm going to bring up a point there it is, and I'm going to drag it over here for now. I need to rearrange this a little bit. This is part of why we set up the structure the way that we do. The pointer lock controls and the other things in the examples rely on this same structure of the folders. So when it goes to import the 3 module, it goes up 1, 2, 3 folders and then down into the build folder. So you see that there's the build folder. So what I want is examples, JSM, and then controls. And once I've got that built, things will be easier after that. So next to build is examples. It'd be nice if I could spell examples correctly. There we go. And then inside of examples, I'm going to have JSM, and I'm going to drag that into examples because I didn't get to the right spot. And then inside JSM, I want controls. And then I'm going to move pointer lock controls into that controls folder. And that should, if I go up 1, I get into JSM, up 2 to examples, up 3 to the 3 folder, down into build, and there's my 3 module. So those should be correctly aligned there. And then inside of my main.js, I want to import that. So I'm going to say import pointer lock controls. I think we need the curly braces. We'll double check that in a moment. From, we want to go up 1 to get to our source, and then we're going to go vendor. Let's go ahead and open this tree up. We're going to have 3 examples, JS, oh no, yes, vendor, 3 examples, JSM, controls, pointer lock controls.js. Okay. And I'm doing this in main at the moment. We might be able to change that over time to put it a little closer to where we need it, but it's probably going to be about right there. The next thing that we want to do is make it so that we have the ability to lock our mouse with the click and unlock it with an escape. By default, you get an escape. That's part of the browser functions that this relies on. So that means that I need a mouse click event. So I'm going to do a function for a click, and I'm going to I want a section that's going to be these things. I think I'll put it down here. Event functions. I'll put them down here, and I'm going to say function mouse click event. And the thing that I'm going to do is controls.lock. Now I haven't created controls yet, but that's what I'm going to do. Const controls equals new PointerLock controls, and I want to give it my camera. I'm gonna have to move this because I need to give it my camera and my renderer DOM element, and that's the element that got added to our scene container. So I need to make sure I've created those before I do this, right? So that's where my camera is. That's where I do the DOM element. So I could do it right here. And this is ren.DOM element, not renderer, because I shortened that up, if you'll remember in the last video. So when we click, we just call this controls.lock, and everything else should be set up for us. Let's try it out. There we go. Right now nothing happens. I can see my mouse. I click in, and still nothing happens. You know why? We haven't set up the listener. We set up the function, but we didn't tell the screen to pay attention to it. So we're going to go ahead and do that. And I want to do this pretty far up so that it's pretty clear where everything is. Add event listener, and on click, I'm going to do mouse click. And let me comment out a section of this. So that it stands out a bit. Okay. I kind of like to build sections in my code with comments. So we'll try that again, see if we get anywhere. My mouse has gone away, and now I am moving my camera's rotation with that. I still can't move it around, but I can do that much. So that's how we implement PointerLock controls with just those few lines of code. Let's go ahead and talk about moving the camera around. That's something that we've done before. I'm going to do it a little bit differently though, for a pretty good, what eventually becomes a pretty good reason. What we did before was we looked for particular keys and then decided to do something based on that. When we start to expand and build a game that's bigger and is going to use lots of different keys, that's going to create a lot of code that is going to be difficult to maintain. So what I like to do is have a somewhere around here I've got a bunch of just globals. Maybe here with the container, I'll do it. And I'm going to say let keys equal empty square brackets. That's an array. It allows you to keep a list of things, right? And then what I'm going to do is use a dictionary kind of an idea where you can do a key value pair. When we press a key, so I'm going to do this down here with my other event functions. Function on KeyDown event. Console.log. I'm just going to show you what we get out of that. We get a code that talks about what key is pressed. So I'm going to run this. And I haven't added the event listener yet, so I'm not sure why I'm thinking I'm doing that. Window dot add event listener key down. I don't think I need the caps there. On key down. Okay, so that'll tell it to call this. So if we run this and I click into there and I press an A, I get key A, F, B, R, T, S, tab. I don't get left shift. Interesting. So that's the information that I get. So I could go and check all of those. But instead what I actually want to do is say keys event.code equals true. and then I'm going to do console.log keys. And this will show us what we're getting out of this by doing this. So if I press A, key A equals true. Now it knows that key A and key B equal true. Same with J and W and Q. Notice that if I press A again, I don't get another one, right? So the key of the key value pair, that's going to get confusing, all those key words, stays there, which means that we can change its value. So in onKeyUp event, I'm going to do the reverse, and I'm going to say keys event.code equals false. So I'm only going to store the ones that somebody has pressed, and I'm just going to flip over which one it is, and then anytime I want to know, I can just look in that keys piece if that one is, if the one that I'm interested in at a given moment is down. So I'm going to console.log keys here as well. And I run. And if I hold down the A, while I'm actually in there, key A is true. If I let it go, let's see what we get here. I have, so again, window.add event listener key up on key up. Now we can try that again. I'm going to go ahead and clear out my console, say run, click in, A is true, A is true. When I let go, A becomes false. B now is true. If I also hold down A, both are true. If I let them both go, they both become false. So now I've got, no matter what I type, a pretty complete list of where any key that I have pressed is there, right? And what's nice is, let's try this. On KeyDown, I'm going to say if keys, I think I want key P. I'm not going to accidentally hit P. Then I'll console.log you pressed the key. Okay, so I run, I click in. If I press A, it doesn't do it. If I press P, it knows that I pressed P. So I can check for it, and it will get the right result even if I've never pressed it. So it doesn't have to be in the list to come back as false. So the only thing that will happen is if I have pressed it and am pressing it, then that would come up true. Otherwise it would come up as false. So that becomes pretty valuable, right? Because then when I'm doing my update loop, I can say that I want to, here's my render loop. Let's do a speed. Let speed equal 1, just for ducks. If keys key W, then camera.translate x speed. I think that's kind of how we want it to go. So that should move the camera forward if I'm pressing W. It didn't move it forward. Probably Y is what I wanted. Translate Y. Let's try that again. Z. I gotta remember which coordinate system we're on in here. We should get a coordinate helper in there. Okay, so it's going backwards instead of forwards, so I'm going to do negative speed. Run. There we go, we got a little closer. And I could also say if keys key S, then camera.translate Z speed. run. I can go forward, and if I press S, I go backwards. I can turn and follow where I'm turning. Okay, so that's pretty good. Right now, I can end up going up and down some, right? And get completely lost, so we'll run again. Right, so if I'm going down a bit, we see that the box ends up below me, right? So I'm not stuck to the ground, and that maybe becomes a problem, but that's a whole other issue. So far in this video, we have implemented pointer lock controls so that we can rotate our camera based on the information that we have based on the mouse. And we've also implemented a pretty simple way to know everything about what's going on with keys and on the keyboard, and used those to figure out some basic movement of the camera. Okay, obviously pretty simple to also add A and D to translate that X to go left and right. And that's as far as we're going to go with this video. Thanks everybody. Have a great day.